Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So, I have been talking more about the world affairs, then politics, and then culture and religion and different aspects, right? So, what I did was I wrote an article and hopefully I've sent to the different newspapers, but I'm not sure if they'll publish it. But I just wanted to make sure that I convey my thoughts about how the world is changing and what is the real motive or the real issues behind that, right? So my topic was basically peace, freedom, and progress. So I'm having in front of me, so you can have a look at this, right? So and then I'll just give snippets about what I want to convey regarding this particular article. So, what I'm trying to humbly say is that due to the unease of our times, right, it is unmatchable. And why do I say this? Is because I say this is because despite this rapid economic growth, right, what I'm trying to say that despite this economic growth, rapid tech advancement, and expanding world capacity, but societies across the world are still very unstable, right? So conflict is persisting. We have seen the recent conflicts happening, and not only with respect to US or other regions, right? Everyone, it is happening, and trust in institutions is eroding. Financial systems are becoming more fragile, and because of that, the trust is shaken, right? And then social harmony appears under strain because all these factors ultimately comes to social harmony, right? So these are the world challenges across different countries, across different continents, right? And this is a common factor. So progress has become more than the conscience, right? So whether we believe or not, history has always shown that peace cannot be established by power alone, and that's why I'm trying to write it, mention in my article, right? It strongly emerges from the justice. That's the core, right? So there are different aspects of this. So peace as a core objective is what I'm trying to mention. As I mentioned, peace is not merely the absence of violence. So a society is peaceful only if justice is visible, dignity is protected, and people actually feel secure, either socially, economically, and morally. Right. So this is the core objective of my article. And then I'm trying to expound further that conflict is therefore seen not just as a society failure, but as an outcome of injustice and imbalance, right? And this is a very deep thought in terms of which is actually relevant today because many nations, and if you see across the many nations, enjoy this surface stability. When I say surface stability, means you have economy, you have power, you have finance running, business running, yet they remain very volatile beneath, right? So you're getting the point, right? And because of that, large sections of the society feel excluded or are unfairly treated, right? So this is the concept of what I'm trying to portray. Now there are four aspects to which I have underlined it. First is the governance as trust and responsibility. So what I'm humbly mentioning is that authority should not be viewed as a privilege, rather it should be viewed as a trust, right? So everything boils down to the moral aspect of how you're viewing things. Now, governance in today's world is primarily exists to for public interest, restrain excesses, and protect the weak, right? And power gains legitimacy means power becomes more legitimate, not to dominance, but to fairness and accountability. And that is the first factor of what I'm going back to you: the peace as a core objective, right? Peace, freedom, and progress, a vision, right? Now, I've written a lot of things here which I'll share in different platforms and share the link as well. So, this is the first aspect. The second aspect is the freedom of religion and conscience. Very important, right? And this is one of the clearest principles which we should follow, that freedom of belief, right? And faith has meaning only when chosen freely, because otherwise there's no meaning, right? When you dominate or you force person, then what is the meaning of faith, right? So force or putting oneself in first in the matters of religion is should be categorically rejected, right? And therefore which would clearly establish freedom of conscience as a foundation, which would typically mean in the simplest term that compulsion is religion should be rejected. So this is a very important aspects, and this is a landmark aspect in today's world actually, where we're seeing the conflicts of different religions and aspects. Okay? So this is the second aspect which I've written in detail. The third aspect is the coexistence of diverse society. If you see history, cities are always made by people who have come in, right? Because different people merge, different things come up, innovation, creativity comes up, and that's how cities are built, right? And then subsequently nations are built. So uniformity of belief and culture should not be sought. Rather it should recognize human diversity as a natural phenomenon, natural reality, and therefore peaceful coexistence, which should be grounded in justice and mutual respect, right? However, it should also be taken care that disagreement should also be acknowledged as part of this life. Very important, right? But what matters is how disagreement or difference of opinions is handled in a society, right? With restraint, with fairness, with dignity, and those things. So in today's world, when we have an era of polarization, especially where one party is not able to see or look or understand other parties' views, right? This is the critical approach to diversity in especially relevant today's time. So this is the second aspect which I have tried to write. The third aspect is social well-being should be a measure of progress, right? What I mean by that, when if you see modern development often focuses on economic indicators like GDP, then you have consumer index, your price index, all those things, while it is overlooking social cohesion, right? Now those things should be taken care, right? But social cohesion should also be a factor of progress. So the stability of families, right? Caring for parents and protecting children, displaying honesty in public affairs. Now very important again, this has to be checked and balanced, and should be really concerned for the vulnerable and treated, and especially the weaker sections of the society, right? So social well-being should not be only left to voluntary charity, rather it should get embedded into the social responsibility of our country. And that's what the fourth point I'm trying to focus in terms of progress. So the fifth point is that economic growth and balance. Now wealth creation should be highly recognized, right? And should be integral part of the worldly affairs. Private businesses should be the bloodline of the society. But and it should not oppose wealth creation and ambition. So I fully support that. But productivity in work, in trading, in building enterprises should be highly recognized. But what it resists, the growth should not be separated or divorced from its social responsibility, right? So the economic systems that reward hoarding, enable exploitation, or normalize extreme inequality should be viewed as destabilizing forces, right, for the society and the nation. So wealth should be seen as a trust that must circulate in the part of the economy and contribute to the social balance. So this is the fifth point which I'm trying to focus, right? So there should be wealth creation, there should be private enterprises, there should be everything, but at the same time there should be a balance in terms of how it gets distributed in the society. And that's the hallmark of, again, the core peace as a core objective. Without that, it will not again create restlessness and other factors. The next part is the finance anchored to real value. So I'll just bypass this because this is a little detail. I come to the next point, which is called freedom with responsibility. Freedom of expression should be highly supported, like I'm doing now, right? Freedom, but my speech should carry its own consequences. Meaning, disagreement should be difference of opinion should be highly encouraged and highly legitimate. But vigilantism, mob lynching, mob justices, and coercion of people forcing people should be rejected. Means patience, restraint, lawful act conduct, moral strength, and these ideas should be promoted. These are opinions of how we are thinking, right? In today's actually outrage-driven public discourse, right? So freedom of responsibility should be factored with freedom of speech as well, right? And that's up to self. So this is the sixth point which I've highlighted. So these are the 6 different pointers which I'm trying to highlight in my article. I know this video has become a little longer, but I hope it reaches something, and if it reaches to people, then they get the understanding about how we are supposed to lead as human beings and make all people get the equal benefits. Obviously, there will be different things happening, there will be different people up and down, but contrary to common caricatures in this, right, knowledge, innovation, and progress should be highly welcomed and encouraged while it is serving human beings. So human beings are one, right? So that will actually create the stability around the world. So what it challenges to these points is the idea that ethics must retreat for society. Ethics must come back for society to advance for human well-being, peace, and stability. So my, again, peace, freedom, and growth, social well-being should not be competing ideals, right? But they should be guided by justice, responsibility, and reinforce one another. So should be our motive. So I hope you like this video, and I have tried to bring some. I know this is lots of rationality thinking, but in simplest terms, I've tried to explain to people, right, what happens. So thank you for watching this video until now. Please like, share, subscribe, hype, so that it reaches the maximum number of people, and we can contribute in smallest way what we can contribute to the society, right? So going forward, next topic, I'll be coming about political justice and all other aspects of thing, which will be also interesting. So thank you very much for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.